do the podcast.
We've only been doing it for 2 years.
I know, with
Almost
another podcast
3.
even.
Almost
I'm not going to
3.
lie. Sometimes I miss listening back to our fun stories that we did because I really enjoyed the story time.
I don't even have a memory of really what we were doing.
I actually really liked that podcast. It's just that we didn't really have an understanding of how to make a podcast. It was kind of just fun for us, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too. I thought it was a joy. It was a little bit of work, though.
It was a lot. It wasn't a little. It was a lot of work.
We started giving ourselves too many things to do, I think. Right?
We did.
What did we have going on? We had
too much.
We had to find misconnections.
And then write a fictional narrative.
And we both did one. And then
we had a section that we would read off the internet, something interesting we found or something funny.
Yes, and it was just called Travis and John on the internet.
It was so fun.
Yeah, it was quite a joy because we started it in 2020, like in the fall.
We started it like as soon as COVID happened.
Yeah,
basically.
Right. We did the COVID podcast, and I
enjoyed it. It was fun.
Me too. We always like tried to be like relevant with like holidays that were going on.
Yeah, it was nice.
And I still have like a rolling document of all of at least my misconnections that I wrote, the fictional things.
I think I have them. Do I?
Yeah, and we always talked about putting a book together.
We did.
And so that's why I saved them. So if you have them, just email them to me and I'll make a little gift for you.
I need to find them, because if I do have them, then I'm absolutely going to email them to you. But I don't know if I have the misconnections that go with them.
Yeah, I remember at first I was like really hardcore on the sound effects.
Yeah.
And then there was just way too much work at one point.
I'm sure it was too much, but also like it didn't need it. Misconnections Theater was seriously my favorite thing.
It was the best thing in the world. And I remember there was one episode, one version I was particularly proud of, where this lady, the street walking lady at a bus stop walks into traffic and causes like an enormous accident. And there was like all the crash sound effects and somebody
oh
my god. And I was like, yeah, that was good.
there were ones that were really fun, real standouts.
Yeah, you had recurring characters that
I had recurring characters
I loved and adored. I loved who was
I'm trying to remember his name. I can't remember what his name was. And then we had the crime one, the reoccurring crime one, and then the clown. We had the parking lot clown. Was it reoccurring?
But there was also the disembodied voice that would come, the nefarious disembodied voice, and that would surprise you and be like, this has all been your nightmare. And it's a turn in the story.
Yeah, the disembodied voice was fun.
That was really, really good.
John,
I do miss those days.
I do too, but it's okay because we can reminisce about them.
Yeah.
And enjoy them.
Yeah. And that's just a little sneak peek into something nobody listening right now will
ever get to hear.
And that's just for you and I.
It is. And that's all right. Everybody can wonder what Misconnections Theater is, but we're telling you guys, had you been there, and we wish you were, because maybe it would have given us more incentive to continue. But John and I really put in a shitload of work.
That was so fun. Yeah.
And it was amazing for us.
But then we started to just want to do movie reviews, and that's how we got Mean Girls Interrupted.
Yep. Which is what you're listening to now. Mean Girls Interrupted, which in the beginning of this podcast, for those who are new here or just now listening, we got Mean Girls Interrupted. It's a mashup from Girl Interrupted and Mean Girls, obviously, if you don't know. But our titles for each episode used to be a mashup of a movie, but we realized it was a little bit too confusing.
I feel like, what are we getting into today?
Yeah, it was a little bit too confusing. So we ended up just simplifying our titles to the movie.
I forgot that we even did that. Isn't that weird?
Mm-hmm.
How we just like have amnesia as we go along.
But so we've done a little bit of changing here.
Yeah. What was what was our first one? Was it like the not the wedding planner? Was it no
I
no Monster in Law?
Yeah, Monster in Law.
What
That was our very first episode that we did.
Monster and Law Abiding Citizen
Yeah,
is what
Monster and Law Abiding Citizen is what that was titled. So
great
it was
genius.
it actually really is. I love a good movie mashup title.
Yeah, and that was birthed from just us texting back and forth like crazy mashups.
Yeah, I was at work when we were doing it, and we came up with some real zingers.
Oh, and your friend Nicole did too, I remember.
She did. She
Yeah.
actually came up with some mashups for us.
So you bring that up today at Thai food.
I'm going to. So for everyone out there who's been listening to us reminisce, today we are going to be doing the movie Waiting to Exhale.
Yes.
So this movie stars Whitney Houston. Freaking gorgeous. Honestly,
the Whitney Houston.
Every
Legend.
single woman in this movie is so beautiful. I mean, Angela Bassett, give me a break, dude.
Yeah. From her introduction to the movie is her sitting at her vanity in like her beautiful Adobe mansion, and she is Bernadine, and she is looking really great. She has her hair done, her makeup is completely done. She's going to be going on a night out with her husband, and then she has a turn of events.
Yeah, John, she is eating up that scenery. I'm telling you,
it's so good.
She is just
a movie star.
She is a freaking movie star, dude.
A movie star. But we'll get into it because there's a lot of moments. But this also stars Loretta Devine.
Yes.
Who
doesn't she play Gloria? Or does she play Robin?
No, she plays Gloria.
Yeah, she's Gloria.
Robin is played by Lela Rochon.
By the way, freaking, I mean, so beautiful.
So Lela Rochon.
Like, it's so insanely beautiful.
I was looking at her through this whole thing. I was like, damn. Like, she could have it-girled so hard.
John, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, dude.
The perfect age. Like, yeah, they're all stars in their own right. And like Whitney Houston was already a legend.
I mean, obviously.
And like Whitney Houston like graced this movie with her presence.
You know what? She actually... Okay, so here's the thing. I've never watched Whitney Houston in a movie. I don't know if she's in others.
She's good. She's in Bodyguard, which I think
she is not bad.
No, she knows how to do acting.
Yeah, like, rest in peace, because dude, she truly was like a massive talent.
Enormous talent. Also open drug abuser.
Yes. Unfortunately,
she said that she was a drug abuser. She was on drugs, and she also didn't care who knew about it. And she was like, "This is my life, and I'm going to do what I want."
Hey, and that's the best way to live your life. Like, who cares?
I know, but
it is a tragedy because it ended up taking her life.
A massive talent. Massive talent. I will still harken back to like Whitney Houston music, like. I Want to Dance with Somebody is one of my favorite
of course,
songs.
Absolutely.
It's just like that nostalgia from Whitney Houston was on here and there throughout the eclectic music of the household during childhood. And this movie kind of sparked that up, actually, because it was made in 1995.
Yes.
And in 1995, music was all over the place in our household. I had an older brother who was 4 years older than me. So he was like entering his teenage years and experiencing all the mid 90s music. So we had a lot of stuff going on. We had TLC, who makes an appearance in this movie with Creep. And Creep was one of my favorite songs in 1995 as like a young person. I was like maybe 8 or 9.
Yeah.
And so, so that movie resonates. And the whole TLC, that initial album with like Waterfall on it was huge for me.
So good. That song Waterfall is, if you ever have analyzed the lyrics, is a huge bummer too.
Yeah, and the music video is all about like people messing up.
Yeah, it is. It is an insane bummer. But it's an amazing song. Oh my gosh, talk about freaking talents, dude.
Yeah, but also I was surprised that Mariah Carey didn't make a little musical cameo in this movie, because that was her big pop album was in this time frame.
Here's the
So
thing though, is like it's we love Mariah here. Everyone, just so you know, we love Mariah here.
she is a diva.
Mariah, that was my first album that I ever owned.
Yeah.
Was one of Mariah Carey's albums, and I got it from my friend Stanley's mother. Her name was April. I'll never forget. She was gorgeous brunette, and she loved Mariah Carey. And I first heard Mariah Carey at
You're
their
like, who's
house.
this?
Yeah, and so I was like, okay, so officially, I should have known then that I was a big old queer.
Yeah,
But I
same,
listened.
same.
I listened to that album just nonstop.
Yeah, we ran that album into the ground.
Yeah,
So many was a lot. But also in our house was like Green Day, Smashing
Yep.
Pumpkins.
Uh-huh.
Well, who else was there?
The album Dookie, I'm sure, by Green Day. Yes.
Yeah, right. With like and we had like MTV at the time, and
Yep. Mm-hmm.
and we were always watching those videos. And who else was there? I mean, there was like Jewel was made an appearance.
Yeah.
That first real Jewel album, and then yeah, who else was there? So many iconic things. But Whitney Houston and TLC were like in the mix prominently.
Yeah.
So, and also my mom loved the movie Bodyguard, which I don't know came out before this or after.
I'm like I said, I've never watched it, and I didn't know she was in another movie. I know of the movie.
Bodyguard, Oscar nominated Bodyguard.
What?
Oh yeah, Bodyguard.
I'm gonna have to watch this. Also, just a little touch off the rails over here. I was looking for Color Out of Space because I'm trying to find it and watch it, but I need to. Anyway, I'm gonna let you know when I do. So
you need to let me know what you think about that movie.
I'm gonna let you know when I watch it. But back to Whitney Houston and Angela Bassett and all these amazing talents in this movie.
As Ariana DeBose says, she did the thing.
I mean, movie. She did not do it.
I mean, yeah. Also, okay, so Angela Bassett was also in the household because my mom also loved whenever she plays Tina Turner in the Ike and Tina Turner movie.
John, I've never watched that.
Oh my God.
Okay.
It's crazy.
Okay, I have to watch this.
Yeah, you do. It's Angela Bassett canon. For sure. She's Angela Bassetting so hard in that movie.
Well, I love that because there's no other way I want Angela Bassett to be.
I know. She's so iconic.
Which now makes me want to watch Wakanda Forever, but only for her.
Yeah. Well, that's available now on Disney Plus.
I might watch it. The thing is, it's like, I like the first Wakanda Forever, but like, or not the first Wakanda Forever. I liked the first installment.
Wakanda Forever Part 1.
Yeah, Wakanda Forever Part 1.
It does kind of pick up exactly where it left off.
I enjoyed the movie. I just was like not blown away. It's hard for me. The thing is like you're never going to be blown away by a Marvel movie.
That's the thing for me.
I want to be blown away.
The Marvel movie flavor for me doesn't really hit hard.
And don't get me wrong, I love Marvel and I've watched every single one of them in the order you're supposed to watch them.
Yeah, but Black Panther
was good.
You have insane visuals.
Yes.
One. Like whenever they take the that hallucinogen, that plant that's like really prized, and they visit their ancestors.
Yes.
Those visuals were insane. And then like as the movie goes on, it sort of like fits itself visually back into like that high key lighting Marvel universe, like you're watching a Captain America thing. Like whenever they leave Wakanda.
Yeah.
But yeah, which I don't know. Marvel's got to figure out another way.
Yeah. Like start making more of their movies rated R, in my opinion.
So DC Competitor, they should have been doing that for a long time, and they were kind of dipping their toes into it. And it seems like they're going to start doing things like that because they're doing like a Swamp Thing movie that's like hard R. Directed by James Mangold, who did that Logan movie, which I think is the best Wolverine movie.
Logan, yes.
Anyway, what are we talking about? Angela Bassett. Angela Bassett.
This is Mean Girls Interrupted, everyone. We do get interrupted by our own thoughts. It's the perfect title. We're not mean though.
No, definitely not. It's a misleading title. It's a misnomer.
Yeah. We're not mean. Also, I do want to say this up top before, because I want you to tell me how much this cost. Also, they did major justice to Arizona. They made it look so beautiful.
I didn't know this was set in Phoenix.
Yeah, it's Phoenix.
It's Phoenix.
There's actual landmarks that I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah,
I'm like, hold on.
I was excited, and like, because just to catch everybody up who doesn't know, Travis currently lives in the Phoenix area and has spent some time there already, and I have spent about 8 years or 9 years of my adult life working in Phoenix. And I was picking up, they really filmed this in Phoenix.
I know. That's why I was shocked, because I was like, did they do parts of this? And I was like, no, this is absolutely the Camelback Mountains. This
absolutely.
is this
even
is
the
straight,
ending shot, even the ending shot,
right?
They're in Phoenix.
They are. And you want to know what? I'm like fully impressed by it, but they picked, of course, they picked all the most gorgeous places here. I mean, Arizona is a beautiful state, hands down.
It is. I mean, Phoenix itself has little tiny gems that are old. They are hyper stylized because Frank Lloyd Wright is from Phoenix.
Yeah.
And so there's Frank Lloyd Wright influence everywhere, which is classy as hell.
Yeah, and it's great.
They do a really great scene with Angela Bassett smoking at the bar with Wesley Snipes. And no, not Wesley Snipes. Oh my God.
I don't know who that actor is, but where are they at? They're at the Biltmore.
They're at the Biltmore.
They're at the Biltmore, and I was like, it's
completely Wesley Snipes. And so they are they're smoking at the bar. It's at the Biltmore. You're right. And I just like, whenever they did that first shot, I was like, oh my God.
Right.
So yeah, it was pretty amazing.
I'm like actually shocked by all the set pieces they had. It looked amazing. They were on location. Very cool. Very like they really made it look great.
Yes, absolutely.
So how much did this movie cost to make?
This movie cost $16 million in 1995.
That's a lot for 95.
Yeah, it is, because they talk about the price of gas in this movie at one point, and I'm like, what?
John, $7 for him to fill up his tank. She said she gave him a 20 and it cost $7 to fill up the tank, and he didn't give her the change. $7.
I was
and
like,
John,
I turned over to my redacted and I was just like, $7.
That's the price of 1 gallon now.
Yeah, it was absolutely crazy, but
shocking even.
Yeah, I would say it was definitely shocking.
So 16 million.
Yeah, 16 million. I'm just trying to look into the cast here.
Who directed this?
I saw the credits and I was like, what? It's Forest Whitaker.
Are you serious?
I had no idea. Like, this
Forest
movie
Whitaker directed this?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
It's insane. I'm like, why hasn't Forest Whitaker done like a million other movies directing wise?
Also, young Denzel. Yo. I mean, come on.
Wait, is Denzel Washington in this?
Isn't that him?
No. No. But the cast is.
Wait, no. Who? Okay, tell me the cast, because.
Yeah, just give me a second. So it's Whitney Houston, Angela Bassett, Loretta Devine, Lela Rochon as our female leads. They're all sort of co-leading this thing, I believe. Yeah. It is an ensemble for sure.
I would say.
Gregory Hines plays Marvin, who is Gloria's new neighbor, who she immediately cruises.
Oh, absolutely. That scene where they show the backside and then it kind of zooms in on his crotch and she's just standing there like.
Yeah, and like she was fully thirsting for him.
Oh, bad, hard,
out of control. And so we also have Dennis Haysbert, who I think exclusively does whatchamacallit, Allstate commercials. He was in like 24 Hours for a long time as the president.
Oh my gosh, that's who it is.
Yeah, and his
That's who it is.
yeah, and his most of his scenes take place at the Biltmore Shopping Center, which I was like, what? That's Saks Fifth Avenue over there. I used to
Yeah.
work right by it. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you remember
I don't
that?
even, yes, I don't even know why I said Denzel, but you're right. That is 100% him.
Yeah. It
He
is.
does do the
He does
John.
the
Why did that? I have,
Is it
I'm
all?
actually shook.
I don't know. Is it
It is
actually?
Allstate.
Is it Allstate?
It's
It's Allstate.
Allstate. He does the Allstate commercial now.
Oh my God. So we also have
That's the voice I recognized.
so we also have Wendell Pierce, who plays Lela Rochon's
Which one though? Which dirtbag? Because she's got a few of them.
Well, Wendell Pierce has plays Michael Davenport.
He plays Michael.
Yeah, who is like has like a really funny scene of him like there's a really funny sensual scene between them. And he's actually like a really great guy that she kind of tosses aside because she hasn't reached that point in her character arc.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, Donald Faison as the 17-year-old son, but who
I didn't know he was in this.
He plays the son of Loretta Devine, Gloria, who who like finds out that his dad is actually gay.
He's a homosexual.
Yeah, and I'm interested to and his dad is played by Giancarlo Esposito, and who is a phenomenal actor. Why am I not seeing him on here? It's so crazy. Oh, interesting. They are so not putting everybody on here. Let's see.
Well, that's okay.
But I mean, it is like a stacked cast if we were to just go down that way.
It's an insane cast for sure.
Yeah, and but I guess the point is, what's the story?
This movie's hard to break down because it follows 4 separate stories of friends. Basically, I can't remember who it is. Is it Whitney Houston? Yes, it's Whitney in the beginning. She's moving to Arizona. That's how it starts. And you get to see the beautiful backdrop of her moving to Arizona to be with all of her friends. And so I kind of can't remember how they get together, but
they don't get together for a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, each one of them has kind of a roadblock in their life.
Yeah, so to speak. Materially, they're all fairly successful. They're on different spectrums of like financial success.
Yes.
Whitney Houston is definitely very successful. She is a hardworking lady. She's been in, I guess, LA for a long time, and we see her coming back to the Phoenix area to make it as a television producer.
Yes.
For a network.
Yes.
And so that occupies a lot of her time. So she has sort of run stagnant in the love department. And she has been unlucky in love in the past. And it's not really on her radar at this point in time. So she's moved into town. She's sort of like, all she needs is like sort of a boy toy for a while. And yes. she has a dude that comes around, and she kind of complains that she's paying for his $7 of gas.
Yeah.
and she says it in her, there's a lot of voiceover narration going on.
There is.
And also like a lot of them talking to themselves because they don't have another character there to express how they're feeling.
Honestly, this is the cast that I want for Sex in the City, because this is Sex in the City before Sex in the City.
Very, very true.
This is the cast that, and honestly, it would be far more enjoyable, like so much more entertaining.
Also, and like New York City is sort of like an interesting choice, I guess. But like Phoenix, to have a set in Phoenix is such a backdrop choice that really works.
John, but also it's so crazy because it's just so crazy to me. Yeah. I don't know why, because I mean, you can't film movies in Arizona anymore, really. I mean, you have to jump through hoops. You can, but
I believe they got rid of the film commission for a very long time.
Yeah. And then I don't know what they did, but I think they filmed one of the Transformers here like 4 years ago,
Yeah.
parts of it. So I'm
Yeah.
like, what did they do? How did they? I don't get it.
I think they've reinstated a film commission, but it's like going nowhere. Like
Well, yeah, because there are no tax incentives. Breaking Bad was supposed to be filmed in Arizona, not New
it,
Mexico.
right, but because Arizona did not have a film commission that's offering tax breaks, they just went over to New Mexico, which has the same meth problem.
Dude, it really has the exact same meth problem.
But I mean, Arizona's missing out because you have like
There's
iconic,
so many
legendary
opportunities.
scenery. The scenery is beautiful. It's the only place that you can actually capture saguaros for your westerns, because whenever they film westerns and such in Joshua Tree, all I can see are Joshua trees, and like you're selling this as Arizona, and it is not Arizona.
No, it's not. And it
So,
never will be.
and
Arizona's freaking beautiful, dude.
yeah,
But
and
all of you who want to come here, don't.
don't do it. Don't.
Please.
See you later. But I was looking for saguaros during this movie to see if they'd like just filmed it in California, but no, there's full saguaros there.
I know. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's good.
It really is. So I guess the way we tell the story is based off of like how we should tell the story is, I guess, based off of each individual character and how their growth happens, because that's kind of what this is, with a bunch of friends like kind of being involved in each other's life while also being busy with their own.
Yeah, so Loretta Devine, her unlucky in love situation is she has reared her child who's 17, he's coming of age, and fleeing the nest is on the horizon for her, and she doesn't like that so much. And
no, she's scared and she's sad.
Yeah, but she's been doing this thing for a little while. Like occasionally his dad, who she is not involved with anymore, they have parted ways a long time ago. He comes around to visit his son, but she sort of stage manages the situation to where she comes on times where the son is out and they hook up.
Yes.
And so in the time that we see him, he comes out to her as gay. And was like, and she's like, what?
Did you love how she was like, you don't have to be the extreme because I've gained weight? It's like,
exactly.
It's like, I don't.
Yeah, there's a lot of depth to these emotions.
There is.
She's like blaming herself for him not being able to have gotten it up for years.
Yeah.
And she blames herself. And then his coming out to her, she's just like, you don't have to be this extreme, right? And then he's just like, yeah, I've been like, quote unquote, bi for a while, but that was basically just a lie. I'm fully gay.
Yep.
And to have that as a theme in 1995 is actually kind of interesting.
Well, it's also pretty progressive for the time too, because like, I mean, and it was so normal. It was so normal, but then you get the son's reaction when he finds out, which was also normal for the time.
Normal for the time, but also still echoes that 1995 mentality towards gays.
It did, but that's what makes it authentic feeling.
Yes, and the mom defends the dad.
She does, and she's like, you better watch your mouth.
Yeah, and I was like, whenever he said the F word, I was like, oh no, how are they going to deal with it? How are we going to do it this time, guys?
I thought they did a great job. And the thing is like, when they drop the F-bomb, and the thing is like, I know people don't want to hear these things in movies, but there are still people out today who say it, and they say it with malice. It's not, it doesn't change. You can't just erase it from a movie because you don't want to hear it. People need to hear it, and they need to hear the impact that it has.
Yeah, because it's very uncomfortable for
the
people.
Right situations. Don't just go throwing them around.
Right. And I feel like this was a perfect situation.
It was.
The scene was really good because it's between Loretta Devine and Donald Faison. She discovers Donald Faison getting.
Gosh, the scene was wild.
Yeah. Sorry. He's been living in the guest house as like a grown adult 17-year-old. And she goes to find him, and she opens the door on him, like getting head by this white girl.
Yeah, by some white girl who runs away.
Immediately runs away.
On. Yeah.
Immediately runs away. She's like, I'm sorry.
It was actually really comical.
She hightails it without a goodbye. It has nothing to do with anything.
No, she's like, peace, I've been had.
Yeah. And then And so Loretta Devine's like, oh my God. And then so she's like, she's storming back to her house, her side of the house. And then the Donald Faison, for some reason, is following her, which is really weird. And she accidentally outs his dad.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, what? My dad's a F word. And then I was like,
Yep.
oh no, where are
Yep.
we going?
Oh, it was hard too. I was like, ugh.
And then he kind of has this moment of emotional roller coaster that we go through.
John, he was going through it.
But
He
then,
actually was going through it. I'm like, girl, you're not the one who's coming out. Like, you're not,
yeah, yeah. But I mean, it is as a gay person who also has a dad who has come out, I'm sort of like sympathetic with that. Like I had struggled.
You know what? I guess I hadn't even considered that it would be a struggle.
It was a struggle, even though I was immediately like, okay, I know, like things happen. But at the same time, it was more of a deeper struggle because I was the kid of somebody who was living a lie. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
That's a
That's gotta,
lot to reconcile because it's like, oh, all of these really terrible decisions through life that I was like clocking as we go. I'm like, why? Like a lot of confusion was suddenly made sense to me.
uh,
So I
that
get
is a
it.
lot to deal with.
This movie is deep.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah. A lot of complicated uh situations, relationships.
Yes. This movie is very relationship oriented. And
Yeah.
not just relationships with people, but relationships with yourself.
Yeah, and like with Loretta Devine relationship with her own child
Yes.
and herself
And
and
herself and the man across the street.
oh, she was on top of that man across the street. She was the first one there. He was
She
in the U-Haul packing things out. And
she immediately was like, come over for dinner. It's like, I've known you
but
for 3 seconds.
not before she totally judged him as like the help,
Right.
which was crazy to me.
Right.
I was like, oh.
But I mean,
Ooh, thank God it's the morning time.
oh yeah.
I might be coughing like a smoker, but I'm not.
Oh, that's totally cool.
I don't know what it is.
Uh Gallergies.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting old and I'm like snoring in my sleep and I aspirate.
True. That could be it.
And so all through the morning I'm just like coughing. But anyway, what else goes down? Who have we got? We haven't gotten to, yeah.
We haven't gotten through 3 people.
Oh my God, I'm getting hung up.
What
Can you
time
help
is
me
it?
out?
Yeah, we'll do
Help
it
me
real quick.
out.
So Loretta basically comes to terms with the fact that her son is going to leave. She wants him to go to ASU where he's been accepted, but he wants to go to Spain and live abroad for a year so he can go experience life. The neighbor
Fancy.
is trying to explain to her this is okay, and they kind of have a little bit of a tiff and a falling out because she doesn't want to hear the truth, especially from someone who, you know, her son looks up to and kind of has a father figure now. And so
Yeah.
she's just mad. So anyway, long story short, with Loretta, they come to terms, her and the neighbor, and her son goes off to Spain, and it's like great for them. Like the relationship
Yeah.
is repaired. They're both happy.
Yeah.
And you see Loretta happy.
Yes. But
oh, we should say this movie all takes place within a span of a year. It starts on New Year's and it ends on New Year.
Yeah. So they all come through they start their journey and at the end of the year, they end their journey and start a new one.
They start a new journey, which good for them.
Yeah. So if we get to Lela, what's her name? Robin. Played by Lela Rochon.
Love her like, so much.
Yes, she's more of like the youngster in the girl group. She is sort of like dating a lot of different guys, and they're all
for her.
Very good for her. They're all gorgeous.
Yes, but they're also a lot of them are trash.
Bums for sure.
Freaking bums, definitely.
She dabbles in they're all very finite dynamics. Like she knows it on some level too.
Right. She knows it's not for the long haul, but she wants it to be so bad.
Yeah, she has like this fantasy, this idea of what she wants in a relationship and a man. And she does find it.
Yes.
She does find it with this guy. What's his name again?
Michael.
Yeah, Michael. She's like, you know what? I'm not super attracted to him, but he's got she ticks all the boxes in other categories. He's
Yes.
financially well off. He's very successful. He can provide for her, and she's gonna sleep with him and see how it goes. And he's very, very bad in bed.
Which is really funny. And he's also sweating. And I was
He's
laughing.
sweating on top of her. He's
Yeah,
sweating onto her. I was like, oh my God.
That scene is actually pretty hilarious though, because what he's saying, the way he's talking, I'm like, this is so amazing. It was a really funny scene.
Yeah,
it's a really funny scene.
It's very funny, and there's a trend in this movie of showing like the disappointing sex
Yes.
with these women and their mindset while it's happening. Even Whitney Houston has one.
Yes, she does have a scene.
They are just so not getting what they need.
No.
But the man is like, they're doing a very good job at depicting that, I would say. A very, very good job at depicting that one-sided
very much so.
And but yeah, so Michael does that in this case, but he does notice afterward, he was like, that was great, right? And he just had no frame of reference. He's never been questioned about it. But she's like, that was actually horrible and awful, and I no. And then he wants to talk it out with her and resolve it, and he does. And he promises to give her everything that she wants because she's like blatantly honest with him. And because I guess she feels like she has no skin in the game, right?
No, she's like, I want a house in Scottsdale. He was like, I have a house in Scottsdale. She's like,
got it, yours. Done.
She was, all of these different things that she wants. He was like, you don't want a lot, do you?
Yeah, and he gives her this really good job that at his company that he works at. And then whenever he sort of does this at work situation where she does a presentation and he like criticizes her a little bit.
Yeah.
She leaves him right away.
Yeah.
Like that's something that she could have totally had overcome, but then she decides to leave and, leave a good situation. And then she goes to all these really model hot guys who are like drug addicts.
Yep.
Lecherous dogs.
Oh, talk about it for real. Somebody who's currently married. There's a lot of married men in this.
Right. Finite opportunities. Yeah.
But also it's like the cheating is rampant. It's like
even Angela Bassett dabbles as the other lady.
Right. And we'll get to her arc and we'll get to her story in a second.
Let's get to it right now. We're here.
Well, let's finish Robin's. So what happens is we want to finish Robin's story, and I'll do it quick. So Robin has all of these failed relationships with these men that she think are perfect. And she's like, oh, Lordy. She's like, I don't know what to do. What am I going to do? She ends up realizing that her self-worth is more important than these people. She finds out that a married man who she kind of was falling for, who keeps saying he's going to leave his wife, isn't going to, but she's also pregnant with his baby.
Yes.
At the end of it, she's like, you know what? I don't need you. I don't need any of this. After he comes a knocking and he says, oh, I finally left my wife. And she said, well, that's great for you, but I don't care. Get off my doorstep. Also,
I didn't ask you to do that, really.
Right. And she was like, I'm pregnant with your child and we don't need you at all. So she closes the door in his face, and her character arc finishes with her being like, you know what? I'm worth more than this, and I don't need anyone. I'm powerful enough to be me.
Yeah, she could just do it herself, and she's going to raise the baby alone. But she does consider not keeping it, which I think is poignant for the 90s, 95s.
She does.
Yeah.
Which is a good moment by the pool. But I'm also like, no, like it's too hot, especially if they really are having the pool time. I'm like, there's no way. They're just sitting in the sun.
No, there's no trees around. Like, you can't. It's 110 degrees in Phoenix, and you can't do that.
John, it's going to be our first 115 next Saturday.
Why?
The first 115, which means it's only up from there. We're probably going to be in 120, 122. I feel like
every single year in Phoenix is breaking a record heat-wise.
God, I'm not ready, dude. It's already in the morning at like 6. It's already 90 degrees. I'm like, shut up.
No.
But anyway, too hot for them.
Yeah, that I do not miss. I
don't
miss it.
No, I'm jealous of you and your weather situation. Okay, so let's move on
sorry,
to
one
are we
second.
moving?
God damn.
Are
What
we
is
moving
wrong with me?
to?
Do
Are
I
we
have
moving to?
tuberculosis?
I don't think so,
Okay, good.
Jeff. But I'm no doctor, so I would probably go check.
I mean, I'm coughing
Uh,
up blood.
oh well, in that case, that is a pretty. That's a pretty good indicator of tuberculosis.
Okay, cool. But anyway, so I feel like we need.
Bernadette, are we moving to Bernadette? Or are we moving to
I'm so bad with character names. Let's see here.
so Bernadette is Angela Bassett's
The
character.
Angela Bassett.
Or should we
Yeah.
do Whitney Houston's character first?
We kind of did her, but not really. But yeah, her arc is what she definitely is putting work before any relationship, but she does sort of get involved with somebody from the past
Who is married.
who is married. She knows that he's married, and
Her
they
mom is the one that set them up, which is the shocking part because she tells her
because
mom he's married and she's like, yeah, but he's a good man and he's trying to get out of it.
He called her mom
Yep.
to in this really fucked up
John,
scenario.
that's so weird.
And
that's
was like,
so weird.
It's very, very weird because he's like trying to get the mom to implant the idea of an affair into Whitney Houston's mind by saying that he's unhappy in his marriage.
Yes.
And is moving towards a divorce eventually. He just hasn't mustered up enough courage or whatever. And so he comes to Phoenix now and again, and they completely hook up every single time.
Uh-huh.
And it's like this burgeoning romance, and they have like a legit connection from the past.
They do.
But they are sitting at the Biltmore, the shopping center. And she has this moment of clarity where she's
after speaking with Robin, they kind of work it out together, I think.
Yeah, because like Robin's been the other woman for quite a while.
Yeah.
And she's just sort of like chooses that Whitney Houston decides that she doesn't want to do this anymore.
Yep.
And so he's like, yeah, I'm getting a divorce. It's gonna happen. And then she's like, you know what? No, like this isn't working for me. Like, I'm not happy with myself doing this. I don't want this to be me in my life. And like she has us like, even though he's like very charming and polite and nice and romantic, she kind of sees through it finally, and it's like, you're a monster.
He's actually a giant dirtbag because he was like, I was going to get divorced, but now, my daughter thinks she's going to be having another sister.
Yeah.
And so we're going to have to push it back. And he keeps doing this runaround. And Whitney's just like,
no,
I'm sorry. Bye.
Yeah. She's like, she realizes that she doesn't immediately need love to be satisfied.
Yeah.
She's happy with just doing her thing, and that fulfills her.
Yeah, not being professional.
Which society tells her that she needs to be like with a husband. She's 33. She does not look 33.
No. I really liked how she had that moment with her mom, because you could tell her mom
afterward, her mom calls her and is like, hey, so I've been told that you're not going forward with this relationship.
Right.
Which means that he went to her.
He did. Freaking.
Which is crazy.
Dude, freaking loser. So he's a loser. And then Whitney tells her mom basically like, stop trying to tell me how to live my life. This is my life. It's not yours. I'm happy where I'm at. Blah, blah, blah. Then she basically tells her mom to go F herself. And then she calls her back and apologizes for disrespecting. Yeah. And then all is good with her mom's relationship and her relationship as well. So
yes, they do. And so they have some kinks to work out, obviously, but it is an evolution, a watershed moment in their relationship.
Yes.
And which I thought was great. And it's complicated and not one way or the other.
No.
Which everything in every character or in the ensemble, every character has a resolution like that. It's sort of it's gray, it's uncertain, but at least they have found that thing within themselves that makes them close that previous chapter.
Yep.
Open a new one. And let's get to Angela Bassett.
Yeah, that's when we get to Bernadine, not Bernadette. It's Bernadine. They call her Bernie.
Bernie. Is that a euphemism or a play on words for what she does? Bernie.
Oh, probably a Bernie.
Yeah.
So so basically Bernie's character starts off with if she looks amazing. Like we said, she's eating the scenery.
Always.
Oh,
Everything.
speaking of
Every woman.
amazing, we'll get right back to her. John, one of the first scenes when we see Whitney Houston in that brown dress in her
Yeah.
hotel room,
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
John,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I truly was like, oh,
Gorge.
she looks amazing.
She
You
looks
guys,
good.
Whitney Houston looks amazing in this form fitting brown dress. And all
That's
I could think about,
crazy.
I was like, God, she's so gorgeous. Okay, back to Angela Bassett being
Yeah.
gorgeous in her room with her
Yeah.
husband coming in saying, hey, I'm leaving you for my assistant.
But he does it in this weird way where he's like,
He
hey, do
goes,
you mind
would
if
you?
we not go
Oh,
to this event tonight that you spent all afternoon getting ready for and you look amazing for? And she's like, no,
no,
all
she's
right.
actually happy. No, she's happy because if you remember in the voiceover, she's like, I really don't want to go to this. When
Yeah.
he says, would you mind not going? You can see the spark of joy on her face, like, oh, we're going to spend the night together.
And no.
No, they're not.
He's like, I'm having an affair. And it's with my assistant.
Uh-huh.
And I'm leaving you.
And she's a white woman, which is a huge issue
Yeah.
for and
Yes.
she even brings it up. She was like, would it matter he's like, what do you care? Would it be better if it were with a black woman? And she kind of sits there with like, and then she tells him it'd be better if you were black.
Yeah. So that
Which
kind
I
of
don't
is,
understand the reference because I'm not black.
I think it's just like I'm not going to speculate, but I think in her arc, in terms of her arc, it's just like an extra low blow
Oh,
of
right.
oh, I'm just like I've never been your cup of tea kind of a thing. And
Right.
so
Right. 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 Right.
I know there's nuances about that statement, but I obviously I don't, but it stings a little bit more, and she's doing it to hurt him.
Right.
She's immediately has like daggers in her eyes, and
John,
she's immediately out for blood.
when it looks pissed, I would not want
No, I don't want to be
to
on the
be
receiving end of that glare.
no. I was
No.
just saying, not one bit.
It's a known Angela Bassett look. And
God, she's so good at it. She's so good at it. And she still manages to look the most gorgeous while also looking like she will rip your dick
murder
off.
you. Murder you.
So he leaves and he's like, I'll be back for my stuff in like 4 or 5 days. And
they
she's
have
like,
two children together.
The F you will.
Yeah.
So she gathers all of his belongings, throws them into his car.
But okay, I love the rev up to this whole scene. And it's a very memorable scene. I feel like it's the most
when she goes through the house,
notable scene of the entire movie. She like revs up, she's all alone, and she starts monologuing to herself,
right?
Like in a rage, while she goes into his enormous walk-in closet, and she looks at everything, and she's just like serial killers aren't as anal as you, and
right?
Like she goes through with all these one-liners, tearing everything apart, stuffs it all into his really expensive car.
Yes.
And then wheels it out into the driveway and sets it on fire. But the way she does it is truly so good. Cinematic.
It's so good. And then when the fire department comes up, I thought the scene was so hilarious. The fire department's like, ma'am, do you know that your car's on fire? She's like, yes.
It's like, so what?
And he goes, you're not allowed to burn anything but trash in your vicinity. She was like, it is trash. And I was like, I said, okay.
Work, bitch.
Right. And then she's like, it won't happen again. Slams the door in the fire department's face. Like, I can't be bothered right now. You're on my property.
Yeah. She's like, bye. But but also let's go back a little bit. It's amazing. Let's go back to the way she starts the fire. Is she pours lighter fluid all over it. She lights her cigarette and then tosses it onto the flames. It's crazy. And then she walks away from it looking amazing.
John, it's so good.
Yeah, it's such a great shot.
That scene is so good. Everything about that moment is so incredible to me.
Yeah.
Nobody else could have played that role.
No, Angela Bassett just has this flavor to her that she brings to the role that nobody else can do or they can't do it like her. She has set
No.
herself apart from every
One
single other movie star.
100%.
Yeah.
Watching this movie and realizing like, oh wow, like she really does, she really just, she is the main character in an ensemble, which is crazy
Yeah, and she
because
is,
that's not the point of this movie, but she still stills every scene she's in.
I think also her you can see that she has like an awareness of like the director's vision of style and mood and atmosphere that they are trying to achieve. Because like Forest Whitaker does this really interesting thing that was sort of indicative of the mid 90s, like where it's very sort of stylized art deco ish,
Right.
where it's the 90s had this obsession with art deco and like a throwback to noir films and 1930 films, and
This it
this does
harkens
that.
back to her when she goes into the Biltmore, John, when she walks in
Yeah.
and they have that aerial shot and it looks old, but it looks so classy.
Right. And it's just a scene at a bar, but at the same
Right.
time, you have the lit cigarette doing the smoke between them.
The backlighting, John, I was
Yeah.
like, that's incredible backlighting because it looked so like,
Yeah. And it's just two people talking, right?
yeah,
But at the same time, every single movement that Angela Bassett is making is old school movie star.
she's so good. She's
It's
so good.
and it's consistent throughout this entire thing, even when she storms into the boardroom
Right.
of her
And
husband.
slaps
Yeah.
the ever living shit out of the assistant.
It's
Dude, it's
really
amazing.
it's not just a regular slap. It's
No.
like, and whenever she did that, I was like, oh shit. And like
John, she
just and the assistant
it was so good.
the assistant just hightails it out of there along with the entire boardroom.
Right. Because they all know, listen,
They're like, nope.
I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. That was so good. So basically, Angela Bassett's character at this point, her character has to go through her marriage ending, her never being the person for her husband that she thought that she was.
Yeah.
And then having to reconcile all these emotions while also figuring out, how am I going to survive? My husband's not going to give me any money.
Yeah.
So she's going through a very messy divorce. And
he doesn't care like
one bit.
how much money she has.
He doesn't care one bit.
But
even though she created his life and their life, and he's taking
no
all of
credit for it at all.
No.
But she does her thing and dates here and there and does this and that. And then she meets the man at the Biltmore who is just a stranger to her.
Yes.
They meet at the bar after after a really bad day with the judge.
Right.
So she's just getting drunk at the bar by herself and she looks amazing.
Scotch and soda. And yes, she does look amazing. I was going to say that outfit too.
Yeah.
You want to know what though? Because the wardrobe department was incredible for this. It really, in my opinion, it really was. It was great for the time and every single one of them looked incredible every scene.
Right. And the man at the bar does even tell her that her makeup looks flawless. And I'm like, whoa, is he gay?
Okay, right. But guess what?
But it does look flawless.
When they go back up to the room after they're talking and he tells her, oh, my wife's dying. And I was like, is this guy lying or is he being truthful? He was truthful. But I was looking at Angela Bassett's skin, John.
Gorgeous.
Not a single flaw. No, I was like,
there's no brushstroke on the face.
Not
one. Everything blends together so beautifully. Her eyebrows, the point at the tip was flawless.
Her face looked amazing.
The
and
script
I was like,
said flawless and they did the flawless.
Yeah, she brought it. She brought the flawless with herself. So basically they do sleep together, but not in that sense.
They just
fall
hold
asleep
each other
next to each other because his wife's dying and he's absolutely in love with her, but he needs to find a moment.
Yeah. And I think they just both wanted to not feel alone.
Right. And I kind of love that scene because I'm like, it's really heartwarming.
It adds nuance and depth to her character. And also this sort of side character that you really get this rich storyline from. And really great, and the movie has a lot of depth and layers, and these women are complicated, not perfect, and they
All dealing with
end,
their own things.
yeah, they end together.
Yep.
Angela Bassett, she does get the money that she is owed from her husband, and they have this
She gets a
moment.
lot of money. Good for
Yeah,
her. She gets a
and
lot of money.
a house in Cabo, even.
Right. I was like, what? You
I
get
was
a
like, wait,
house?
why didn't we go there?
Right.
So I mean, he does sort of like take it easy on her,
Right. And
and
he shakes her hand.
she appreciates it, and she sort of sets that bad blood aside and is like, you know
Yes.
what, we're gonna have to co-parent these things together.
Yep.
And yeah,
And
and
the movie ends all of the friends together at a lake. I was trying to figure out where they were exactly.
me too. I mean, you could see
I
like,
couldn't remember, but it
yeah, it's
looked
like
like there was some sort of dam or something in the background. And then you have the fireworks going off. I will say, I really hate the choppiness of
of
how
the
it was
slow
like
mo.
at the end. The
I looked,
choppiness was bothering
yeah.
me.
You know what I did? I looked over to my redacted and I was like, you know why it looks like that? They didn't film it at the right frame rate.
Right. John, the choppiness was so bad.
And
That's
maybe it wasn't originally intended to be shot in slow mo, so they did it at a regular frame rate.
I was going to say, do you think they had to do it in post?
I think in post they were like, this should have been in slow motion.
They did it in post because it was like and I was like, no, 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 no.
Like they needed to
like,
film it. They needed to film it at a higher frame rate for that effect. But I mean, it is like an artistic effect, I guess, if you want to call it that.
Sure. I won't.
On the day, it was clear they did not have a higher frame rate. So
that's my only complaint on that end, and that's at the very end. And honestly, it makes no difference. It just bothered me. I was like, why is it so choppy?
I was like, you know, if even if you don't know if something's going to be in slow motion or not, like you need to
prepare for it anyway
and do a higher frame rate. But this is a time where, like, obviously
film
before digital, and like if film is that expensive, you don't want to be
expensive.
You don't want to be filming at a higher frame rate if you're not going to intend to use it.
Right.
But yeah, it worked. It's whatever.
The movie's over. Everybody has their arc. Everyone develops a new, they develop a new understanding of who they are.
And also how much they sort of need each other as friends, because
they did all need each other.
At the beginning, you kind of see them totally not together. You know that they're friends because they talk about each other, or like, what's her face is the hairdresser to Angela Bassett. Gloria is a hairdresser, successful in her own right.
Yes.
And yeah, so but they do come together through this series and realize they just need themselves and their best friends to be fulfilled.
Absolutely.
Which I think is I liked this movie. I really enjoyed it.
Me too. I will say, so my only thing with this, I guess we can get into the review before we give like the actual. So, I mean, out of 10 white girls giving Donald face on a BJ in a guest house, I'm going to give this movie I want to give this movie about an 8.
Yeah, I would say
I don't want to go higher. And my reason being is because, like, as much as I did enjoy this movie, there were parts of it for me that did drag. Like, I felt like it dragged on. Obviously, they had to spend enough time for all of these characters to grow.
Yeah, it is very much an ensemble piece for sure.
And I'll say this: some of the actors, more specifically, Whitney Houston's man, the Allstate guy, he's not a great actor. He did the job.
He has a
fine.
Great smile. That's for
he has
sure.
a great smile and he has a great voice. But also, oh my gosh, Wesley Snipes in the beginning kind of wasn't doing it for me, and I was like,
but whenever they get to the hotel room and he goes on his sob story, it got a little.
That's better. When for me, I was like, okay, this is better. I'm like, okay. So they were there to be there.
They were there to give this show to these 4 phenomenal actresses.
Right. I just kind of wish that the men that were cast, don't get me wrong, everyone that Robin was with, those guys were incredible actors.
Oh my God.
They did amazing jobs. They did amazing jobs. So
and I would say if I can right now.
Yeah, you can.
My favorite of her paramours is Leon, the one that she has the baby with.
Yes.
That's all I'm gonna say.
I think they both did really well.
Yeah.
But overall, kind of the slowness.
He did very well.
He did very well.
Well, his character's name is Russell, but his stage name is Leon.
Yeah. But sorry, 8 for me. 8 for me. Just the slowness.
I would say it's very fair. That's very fair. And it is because of nothing to do, in my opinion, with like the actors or anything like that. Like it was very like 90s acting in some moments, but for me it is also rooted in like the story of it all. For me, I would also give it an 8 because I was thinking like 9 or 10, but it is the problem. I mean, although I enjoyed all the scenes and where they were going, like they would sell me on the scenes as they developed, but whenever they would introduce a new scene, I was like, oh God, okay, like what are we gonna do now? And there was like they weren't connected in a dynamic way. It was sort of just like a collection of scenes,
right,
from a play almost, which I mean makes sense. You have Forest Whitaker, who's an actor, directing the movie, so he's gonna hand it to give all the space for these really good performances, which they are. Like,
yes, they are. They absolutely are. Even, I mean, Whitney killed it too. Like Whitney killed it.
Yeah. And a lot of the time she's like on the phone or doing voiceover.
Right. She did a really great job. I think overall, acting wise, yes, all the actors were good. Yeah, like great. I said, though, well, all of the lead characters were amazing.
There was sort of a lack of tension a lot of the time.
Yeah.
The stakes weren't extraordinarily high. There were the board
literally no stakes at all.
There was no like real dramatic question in a way, but other than that, like it was great.
I've never read the source material. I know it's based off a book. I've never read it, so I don't know how.
Yeah, it's based off of the book by Terry McMillan, who also was involved in the screenplay with Ron Bass. But Terry McMillan, she also wrote another famed, legendary Angela Bassett piece called "How Stella Got Her Groove Back."
Right. So I've never watched that. I did watch Girls Trip.
I can't believe she did Girls Trip. That's insane.
I did watch Girls Trip.
Yeah. Anyway, so I feel like, yeah, just like an 8. I suppose. But also before we get into like the Rotten Tomatoes of it, I wanted to acknowledge that so Angela Bassett, whenever she storms into that boardroom and she has victory rolls,
right,
she's doing Joan Crawford.
She is Joan. Right. She's absolutely Joan Crawford.
She is doing "Don't Fuck With Me, Fellas."
I was just going to say that.
And I own 51% of this company.
Right. I was going to say, and she does roll in there. This is basically that scene, which I thought was pretty incredible. And I do think it's intentional.
Right. And her acting style is over the top. I think with her, they were very much referencing Joan Crawford on purpose. Right. Somehow. And that, I don't know what it is, but it's the victory rolls tipped it off for me. The perfect eyebrows.
The perfect skin. Dude.
Yeah. I don't know.
She actually might be one of the most gorgeous women in Hollywood. I'm not joking.
No, yeah. I think it's agreed upon. I believe that she carries such movie stardom with her. It's wild. Like she understands how to be a movie star, and she does that.
I don't even think it's a matter of understanding. It's just a natural quality.
Maybe.
But I think it's just a natural quality for her.
Yeah, possibly. I know Keke Palmer does an Angela Bassett impression.
I love Keke.
I know.
I love Keke Palmer.
I would argue that Keke Palmer is like the next generation of Angela Bassett, I would say.
She's so good.
Like that star quality.
Right.
That stylized form of acting that's at the same time stylized and very truthful and organic, which is hard to do, I think.
You have to be very talented. Yeah. So that's one of those things.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway. So Rotten Tomatoes.
Anyway, so Rotten Tomatoes. Oh, where did we go? Let's get over here. Let's go to RottenTomatoes.com. So, this 1995 comedy drama, at a runtime of 2 hours and 1 minute, it gets 61% on the tomatometer.
It does.
Yeah.
Eh, that's fine. Whatever.
Yeah, but it is somewhat of a crowd pleaser at 79%.
John, we were there.
Yeah,
That's in 2 weeks. We've both been like on the side of the audience.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm with the critics on this one. I mean,
No.
I can see how I actually can't see how a 60, maybe a 70 makes more sense. But like for me, it personally was like, it was pretty enjoyable.
Yeah, I had never watched this movie before, but also I knew that it had been around since I was a child. But
Right.
it was like one of those movies that we didn't rent because it was unknown that they had like love scenes in them.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so at that point in my childhood, we weren't like watching rated R movies. But anyway, so
Samesies.
the critics say, Waiting to Exhale looks at life's ups and downs from an underseen perspective, albeit one that's poorly served by uneven acting and a sporadically interesting story. Oh, that was harsh.
That actually was really.
That was really harsh.
That's like, girl, that is the car on fire in a driveway.
Yeah. Like they just broke up with the movie. But I don't know. I don't agree with that at all. I thought the acting was really good.
I don't, maybe they're referencing, because for me, I thought the acting was great. But like I said, if they're going to have
some players were not as good as the core cast.
No, sure. And that's the issue for me. If you're going to have this powerhouse of a cast who's so incredible, every single person who's in a scene with them, they also have to bring that level. And to me, I definitely recognize that. I'm with the critics on that because I was like, no, this ain't it. If you have someone next to Angela Bassett, they have to be on her level.
Yes.
Have to.
Right. But the thing is, for me, I felt like that was also a directorial choice.
Oh, maybe.
Because none of these men were ever at risk of upstaging any of the four.
They weren't. But the thing is because here's the thing, Angela Bassett with these men, even her husband's role, I'm like, it wasn't enough. I need a character and I need a person who can bring the same level of heat that Angela Bassett's bringing with that cigarette and kerosene girl.
Yeah.
Has to.
Yeah. Even in the moments where all the girls were together for the birthday night where they're all just together. I mean, I looked over
when they were dancing, John, I smiled because I was like, that seems so fun. But please like continue.
Moment. Yeah, exactly. But before we get to that point, like they all drink a lot too much.
Yes.
And the movies, I mean, the camera's like panning across like these lazy people who are like drunk on the couch. Like you get Whitney Houston lazying out. You get all the people there on the couch, whatever, a really big sectional. And then the camera sets on Angela Bassett and she is not relaxing.
No.
she is always intense.
She
always super intense. It is like way too late to be this intense. And then she's like, starts to get a little sad drunk and it's like, I want to drunk dial this my ex-husband's girlfriend in the middle of the night and say some words. And they're like, that's a bad idea.
Can I tell you this? I'm so glad you bring this up like before we close out because I wish they would have cut that scene entirely.
You think so?
I do.
Okay.
I do. Not the living room scene, not the birthday, the phone scene. Because here's the thing. I get it. You want to call this person, but like for me, there was really no payoff when she was like, I'm so sad. We know you're sad. And that's all it was. And then guess what? They were dancing immediately after. There was
it sort of like was
that didn't connect
in a way.
That didn't connect for me. And I wish they would have just cut that telephone scene. I didn't need it.
Immediately before, she was having a great time.
Right. I get it. She got in her feelings. We've all been there. But like
I love how they were like, everybody's having a great time, super drunk and passing out on the couch. And then it sets on Angela Bassett, who's like way too intense for right now.
Right. So,
but it was glorious in an Angela Bassett way, I think.
I mean, she killed the scene, but I just think that that part didn't really connect with the actual.
I do hear you on that for sure.
Not for me. It wasn't for me.
And I do agree that it does feel a lot of these scenes are disjointed in a lot of ways, but it does pay off in the end if you just go along with it and enjoy it for what it is, right?
I mean, honestly, I enjoyed it. No matter what, I did enjoy the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not into like romance, introspective drama movies at all. Like I need like punchy action. I need a little bit of violence.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was fully engaged this entire time, and it was very unexpected for me.
Right. I liked all of the stories. Each separate story was fun.
Yeah, that was deep and human, and they executed it well for what it was. And yeah, that's
I say watch it. If you haven't watched Waiting to Exhale, watch this movie. You're going to enjoy it.
Yeah,
at least from an audience standpoint.
Yeah, you can watch it, and it's not a drag.
No,
surprisingly. Because sometimes you think it's going to, but it picks itself back up.
It can be slow, but it's not a drag.
Yeah, right. It's slow, but not a drag. But with that, Travis,
John,
we did it again.
We always do.
We always do. We talk about it for a while.
Yeah. How long have we been going?
I don't know. There's not a timer. We are doing this on Zoom now because Riverside was a complete and utter failure.
Yeah, sorry. Also, we don't care. That's not our opinion. That's everyone's opinion. So maybe work on that, Riverside, because you're not getting money from us anymore.
Yeah, but I can say, Travis, that it is the last 3 weeks of doing this on Riverside was kind of like, I felt like I wasn't connecting.
Right. Because we were lagging and now we actually can talk like normal.
Yeah, we were reacting to like past versions of ourselves.
We were.
Like
our future selves had to hear the past versions and then we could respond and see, look, it's so much better now.
It's smoother. I mean, you could hear it. You could hear the lag and the recording.
Right. You could.
Yes.
There were at times when I could hear echo too. And I was like, not a good look.
Not fun. So we're sorry for those at home.
We are, but apologize. We will know more because we are now doing Zoom, which has great recording options for all of you out there who are looking for it. If you do podcasts and you're looking to record, check out Zoom. It's also cheaper than Riverside. So
true. We might just be late to the party and this is not a groundbreaking revelation.
Right. To us, we're all like, this is amazing.
Well, have you guys heard of this thing called Zoom? I do remember whenever Zoom was like new, like right at the beginning of the pandemic, they were like, what? Zoom? Huh? This is a revelation.
Yeah.
Zoom makes the world go round.
It really does. So anyway, like, follow, comment, subscribe. Go to our Instagram, Mean Girls Interrupted, where I was kind of slacking, but that's fine. Go there and follow us. Go to Apple, give us a 5-star review, or a 5-star rating, and leave us a review because we need it.
And follow there because otherwise you won't get it. They won't tell you that we do new things.
Right. You have to follow. And then also just go to our website and kind of browse around over there. Do whatever you want. Just move your mouse around on the mouse pad, and just the cursor can go anywhere on our website. We love that. We actually made it so that you can put the cursor anywhere on your screen.
Yeah. Also, we have a giveaway coming up.
We do.
Announcement for the giveaway because everybody loves a good giveaway.
Yeah.
So all you have to do, but first,
sure.
Before I reveal the steps you have to take to enter the sweepstakes, is you have to go to all the things. You have to go to the Instagram. You got to go to the Apple Podcast. You got to follow. You got to subscribe on our YouTube. You got to rate, review. You got to leave at least one comment because we'll be watching. And you got to share it on your feed or something. And then what you will get is Travis and I will personally arrange to come over to your house, take everything from inside of your closet and stuff it inside of your car and wheel it out to the street in front of your house and set it on fire.
That's a guarantee.
It's a guarantee. It is a promise from us to you. Only if you do all those things.
But you have to do those things if you want us to torch your car and belongings.
So if you didn't catch it the first time, rewind it a little bit, listen to it again. I know it's hard and confusing. You just got to engage us on social medias and all the platforms, and also sell us. You need to retitle your home if you're a homeowner to our names.
That's correct.
Yes.
So I guess we did it.
Yeah. Travis, I guess we're gonna have to see you at the movies.
Roll the credits, you extremely long string of homosexual things. Epithets, is that it? Is that the word?
Epaulets.
Oh, no. I do like those. Anyway, waiting to exhale.
Bye.